Hi friend, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name's Kat. Today is a bit of a different video. It is just gonna be me just talking for a while about some thoughts and some feelings I've been having towards buying stuff, and I hope you'll stick with me through it because there is a purpose at the end of me sort of introducing a new part of my channel, I guess. So I had to actually make some bullet points because I tried filming this a minute ago and it just became uncohesive because it started as a stream of consciousness thing, and it'd be too complicated for me to just keep jumping around. So I'm going to kind of try and section it a little bit so that it makes a little bit more sense. Let me sort of define what I mean by buying shit. Where do I begin? This year has been probably one of the worst years of my life. It's been incredibly stressful, as I'm sure it has been for many people, but a lot of stuff in my own personal brain as well as life has been really hard. And one of the things that I was doing to help myself get that little hit of serotonin was buying stuff for the sake of buying stuff. It took me a while to kind of realise that the reason that I was feeling just not myself at all and completely unproductive and, to be frank, quite miserable was because of my situation rather than the things that I have. One of the reasons that I was feeling incredibly anxious and sad was that I keep running out of money every single month, and there is no reason I should run out of money. It's because I make reckless spending decisions. I put a bunch of shit on Klarna, which is just so bad, and then at the start of next month you get your pay packet and then you have to spend £200 of it straight away to pay off your debts. Enough, I've had enough of it. I've had enough of you, lady. One of the main reasons that I want to start doing this is that I have a new job. My old job, I was there for a really long time, and by the end of it, it became incredibly toxic and tiring, and just going there made me incredibly miserable. And it got to a point where I would come home and I would just get in bed and I wouldn't do anything. And that's the complete opposite of how I am. There used to be a time where I would come home and I would, straight away do something. I'd make dinner, I would tidy, I would, do something. And it just got to a point where I was so mentally exhausted that all I could do was sit in bed and watch TikToks, basically. My diet got really bad because I wasn't cooking like I usually do. I usually cook pretty much everything from scratch, and I wasn't. And yeah, it just had a really awful effect on me and my personality, and also adding into the effect that I was then just trying to appease those feelings by buying things because I felt like if I owned these things that would make me feel less miserable. Plot twist, it doesn't. But now I have a new job. I've only been there for a week, 3 days. Yeah, I haven't been there for very long, but I'm now officially an assistant manager at a charity shop, which is fun. It's pretty fun. And yesterday was the first day in a very, very, very long time that I finished work and I came home and I cooked a proper meal and I put away the washing and I actually did stuff, so I felt like a productive person. And I'm not saying that if you come home from work and all you want to do is put your feet up doesn't make you a productive person or should make you feel bad, because that's not the case. But for me, that's just how I've always been. I like to do stuff because I like to do stuff and then do nothing, because I like that feeling of like, well, I've done all of this, so I can now sit and relax. And it's silly, but you know, that reward. And I just wasn't doing that. I was rewarding myself for doing nothing, basically. And another reason is I want to be more of a sustainable person. I want to have less of a footprint on the world, and one of those things would probably start with just buying less things because I don't need them. For instance, this shirt I pulled out to wear and it still had the tag on it, and this has been in my wardrobe for maybe 2 months, 3 months. That is awful. That is so awful, and it made me feel really guilty that I've had this piece of clothing sitting there waiting to be worn and I just haven't. And there's parts of me that need to start unlearning things. Like I hate repeating outfits, but why? If the outfit's cool, wear it multiple times, you big dummy. Honestly, it's this. I feel like this is just I'm at a point where I need to relearn things. I need to relearn a way to look at the world, and I feel like now is the perfect time to start doing it, because I'm in a transitional period in my life, and it's nice that it feels like I'm getting the ball rolling. It doesn't just feel like, you know, just saying I'm going to start doing this and then it kind of fades. It feels like I am actually going to start doing these things, and that's really exciting. So the thing that really kicked me into gear actually was a fellow YouTuber on this platform called Hannah Louise Poston. First of all, she's just really cool, and what an eloquent woman. She has such a way with words, and she did a series, I think it was in 2018. She did a no buy year, a complete no buy year. She didn't buy any beauty products, any clothes, homeware, I think. I can't remember her exact rules, but she would update every month about how it was going and things like that. And then in 2019 she did a budget, and I loved watching that series, just seeing every month what she was spending her budget on. And she always had such solid reasons why she was buying these things, and she could talk about a single item for like 10 minutes of why she wanted it and why it was going to be a good thing to add into her collection, rather than just it was pretty and I wanted it. See, this is the thing. I only want to start introducing things into my collection that I'm actually going to use. I want to start using things up completely before I'm buying other stuff, because what's the point? It's just going to go to waste otherwise, surely. I really saw myself reflected in her, and the way that she used buying stuff to fill a void and just to try and give you that, you know, that hit of happiness. And that hit of happiness goes away very quick when you see the reflection in your bank account. And there's just other things that I want to spend my money on. I need a change in perspective and a change in priorities. And this was something actually Calvin and I were speaking about last night. Or was it the night before? I can't remember, doesn't matter. But we were chatting, and basically the reason we got onto the subject is because we're taking our cat to the vet next week, and we're so worried about how much it's going to cost, because we've spent our money. Like, we don't have a lot of money, and that shouldn't be the way that it is. And we're like don't want to spend that money. But why? Because it's our cat, and we want to look after him and make sure that he is healthy and happy. So we should be fine with spending that money. Why do I feel more guilty spending money on a vet bill than I do buying an eyeshadow palette? That is fucked up. It's fucked up. We were talking about it as well in the context of like, I feel more guilty when I'm out with friends and I'm buying food or drinks and I'm having a really nice time with my friends, I feel more guilty spending that money than buying a dress that I will wear once. Do you see what I mean? Like there's like a disconnect in my brain of like what's actually important and what's not, and I feel like they need to be flipped, and I feel like it's gonna happen, and I'm really happy about it. And Calvin and I, you know, we want to be able to save for things, and we want to be able to, you know, if we want to go on holiday, we want to be able to just have the money for it rather than having to plan months in advance to have that money. So I guess it's just like it's a money thing as well as like a physical thing. I don't want so many things in my life, but I also want to save money. Because we actually opened a lifetime ISA the other day because we would like to buy a house at some point, and I would like to be able to put money in that account every month and not have to think, oh, well, I have £150 on Klarna that I need to pay, whereas that money could go straight into my savings account. I have to have a priority shift, and I feel like it's happening, and that's very exciting for me. So, where am I going with this? I am introducing my low buy and also my budget. I'm going to start doing a proper budget, and heavily inspired by Hannah Louise Poston, I am going to keep an update on it here on my YouTube channel, because then I feel like I have to hold myself accountable. I have to actually do these things because I've said I'm going to do them, rather than just saying, oh yeah, I'm going to start doing a budget, and then I don't. I can't go back on it. I have to start holding myself accountable, and soon it will just become how it is, you know, it will become routine. So here is my beauty budget. So I've decided to put my budget at £150 a month, which is still a lot of money, but I feel like I'm hoping that I won't spend more than that a month on beauty. Because at the moment, I would probably say I am spending a lot more than that on beauty. I feel like £150 is a good place to start, and we can adjust the budget if need be. But right now, I feel comfortable with that amount, and I feel good with that amount. And the things that I'm going to log in my budget, so make a note of how much everything costs me so I can keep on top of it, are clothes, makeup, skincare, and hair care. When I say hair care, I'm not including shampoo and conditioner, and I'm not including things like body wash or deodorant or body spray, things like that, just because I see those as necessities rather than luxuries. And usually with things like deodorant and body spray and shampoo and conditioner, I do just replace them. I don't have loads on backup. I'm not one to usually buy, you know, if I've got a body wash, I use that body wash until it's up, and then I'll buy another one. And also those things come out of mine and Kelvin's budget, because that's something that we both use. I've given myself some strict rules, but that should make it easier for me to abide by. So my first rule is specifically for clothes, and this rule is that I cannot buy new clothes, like brand new clothes from like a clothing site, unless I absolutely have to. I want to buy clothes secondhand or from independent designers or makers. There are some items that I do not want to buy secondhand, like pants and socks and things like that. And there are some items that I do very much understand you want to put your money into, like shoes and coats. I think shoes and coats are ones that I like to get new, even though my winter coat, which I've had for 3 years now, I bought that secondhand, but it was brand new secondhand. Someone had bought it, she didn't like it, but she couldn't take it back, so I bought that from Depop. And most of my clothes that I really truly love are secondhand. I love buying clothes secondhand. I love using Depop and eBay, and especially now working in a charity shop as well, that gives me another avenue that I can sort of explore secondhand clothing. And I live close to a lot of charity shops and also vintage shops, and I just find that the pieces you can find are so much more interesting and something that's a bit different to what everyone else has possibly. But even then, it's just usually significantly cheaper and also better for the environment. I feel like with things like shoes and coats, if you're going to invest in good quality shoes and coats, then they will last you for a really, really long time. Shoes that I usually go for, I do love my Doc Martens. I have 3 pairs. One of them I've had for probably going on 5 years now, and they are still... I did have to get the buckle re-sewn on them, but they're doing good. My Jaden Boots, I've had them for just over a year maybe, and they're still going really well. And I did treat myself to a pair of the Jaden Maxes because I've wanted them for a really, really long time, and I also had some vouchers, so I got them at a fucking steal. I wouldn't have got them otherwise, but they are ready to be broken in, and I'm very nervous about it. But I feel like with shoes and coats, you can warrant that extra bit of money and getting something new because you are going to probably use them to absolute death. Yeah, I would like to get out of the habit of buying new clothes. Between the ages of like 17 and 20, I very, very, very rarely shopped on actual clothing sites. Like, I very, very rarely bought new clothes. It was usually secondhand or vintage or, Depop and eBay. I saved so much money doing it that way. And I feel like since buying clothes from ASOS, usually, my style has got a bit more boring, and I want to go back to my old style, which I just felt like was a bit more interesting. But I also don't want to be bringing loads of new pieces into my wardrobe. But actually, one of my things I'm going to do soon is go through my wardrobe, and anything I haven't worn in a couple of months, I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to sell or take to the charity shop, because if I haven't worn them, I'm probably not going to wear them. That's my thought process anyway. And maybe I'll film that. Maybe I'll film me going through my wardrobe, going through my clothes and just sorting them. And with the independent business side, I want to start buying clothes that are special and individual and interesting. I want to buy pieces that I'm going to just love wearing and I'm going to feel really good in, rather than just buying stuff for the sake of buying it. And I have a few things on my list that I really, really want to get and have had on my list for a really long time. And specifically, one of them is a jumper from Gemma, which I think her username is GMMRS. I'll put up like a little video going through her Instagram, and she's actually the partner of one of my tattoo artists, and she knits these incredible jumpers. And I've wanted one of her jumpers for probably like 2 years. But it would get to the point where I'd be like, right, I'm going to buy one of Gemma's jumpers next month. And I've already spent over £100 on Klarna, so I can't justify also buying one of Gemma's jumpers. And that is so annoying to me. That I could have had one of these jumpers for a long time, and I haven't. And I really, really want to support her as well. I absolutely love her craft. I think she's such a fantastic artist, and I'm desperate for one of her jumpers with the little clown collar because I think they're so freaking cute. And she does charge around £100, but that's for the wool and the time that she puts in. And I think she actually knits with cotton, so it's really incredible quality, and that's on my list. I want one of those, and I want to feel good. Don't want to feel guilty buying it because I've already bought other things from somewhere else. Do you see where I'm going with this? I hope this is like not just really boring and rambly, but I'm trying to kind of process my thoughts whilst also voicing them. My second rule is that I'm not allowed to buy anything from the same category twice in a month. For example, if I buy an eyeshadow palette in a month, I cannot buy another eyeshadow palette for the rest of the month. If I buy a bottle of hair gel, I cannot buy another bottle of hair gel for the rest of the month. I feel like this way I'll be introducing things into my collection a lot slower, and I won't be overwhelmed with things, because I feel like I can get that way sometimes, where I'll buy so much of one thing in one go, and then I'm just like, well, what do I do now? I don't know what to do with this stuff. So I want to really limit it. I'm not sure yet whether I want to keep it at a month or whether it's every couple of months. I might switch up depending on the item, because I do get through hair gel quite quick, and maybe that will have to be a monthly thing, whereas eyeshadow palettes, it might be every 2 months, or makeup items every 2 months. I think I'll keep it at a month for now and see how that goes and see how that affects my budget. And then if I find that I am stepping up a lot, or I am still buying one eyeshadow palette a month, then I might change those rules. My third rule is that I have to use a wish list. I have one saved on my phone in my notes section. I have a wish list, and I have already been using it, and I find it so useful that when I want something, I'll put it in the wish list, and then usually I'll forget about it, and then I'll go back to the wish list and be like, oh, why did I ever want that? And I'll just take it off. And I think that works so much better than just buying something. Put it on a wish list, and if you go back to that wish list and you see that thing and you think, yeah, I still want that, then possibly it could be one of the things that you want to buy. But if you go back to it and you're like, oh, no, I don't want that anymore, you can take it off and that's it, that's done. You're not going to buy that thing. And I have found myself putting things in, taking things out, putting things in, taking things out. And I think I've only actually bought one thing from that wish list, which was my Jaden Maxes. And that was at the very top of my wish list, and it's been there for probably about a year. So I think this is a rule that I have sort of been doing, but I'm going to implement it properly, and I want to continue doing it because I do find it is very useful, having that wish list that you can keep referring to, and then you kind of question yourself because you're like, why did I want that? If anything looks different, my camera stopped recording, so hopefully everything's fine. But let's continue with my fourth rule, which I'm going to just read how I wrote it, because I think that's the best way for me to, rather than trying to, it hasn't got like a short snappy title, it's just a very long rule. So the way I wrote it was, no buying 5 cheaper items that are going to go to waste over one expensive item that will be cherished. And I think a perfect example for this is a coat that I really want from Topshop. It's olive green. I'll find a picture and I'll put it in. It's olive green, it's vinyl, it's got gorgeous like tortoiseshell buttons, and I remember seeing it in Topshop a really long time ago, and I fell in love with it, and I wanted it so bad. But it's 50 quid, and to me, spending 50 quid on a coat was ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. I wasn't going to spend 50 quid on this jacket. And I've lusted over this coat for over a year now. I've been trying to find it secondhand, but every time I save it on Depop, it gets bought the next day pretty much. It's still on the Topshop website. I've seen people wearing it. I have one specific memory of seeing a girl wearing it with black hair, wearing Jaden Doc Martens, and she looked fantastic. And I was like, oh, that's me. And I could be like that. And that is one of the fuels for this coat and this want for it. And I know if I had it, I would love it. And I would wear it so much. Yeah, I just can't bring myself to spend that £50. But I will happily spend £50 on 4 items that none of them I will love as much as I will love that coat. Even collectively, I might not even love them collectively as much as I will love that coat. So I want to start buying things that I genuinely know that I'm going to really, really love. No matter if it's, oh, well, that's the cost of 3 tops for that one top. I could buy 1 top for the cost of those. And I think the things that have kind of made me feel this way is I was on the hunt for a pair of black jeans. I wanted black jeans. I wanted them high-waisted and I wanted them wide leg. And I wanted something, I just wanted simple. And the only ones I could find that actually looked like what I wanted were from Lazy Oaf. And they were, I think, £55. And I was annoyed that I was going to have to buy these ones. I was annoyed that why are my perfect ones expensive? Why are my perfect ones expensive? Why couldn't I get these from ASOS for 20 quid? And that shouldn't be how it is. And now I have these jeans and I love them and I wear them so often. And they're such amazing quality because they're from Lazy Oaf. They're from an independent brand. They're from a brand that I have worked with. So why don't I want to buy their stuff? Do you know what I mean? Why am I annoyed that that's where my perfect item is? Because it's my perfect item. I'm not going to do what I've done so many times, which is trying to find a perfect item, settling for something else, and then buying the same thing like 4 times. I just get frustrated with myself in hindsight when I think about the amount of money I've spent trying to find a cheaper version of something when I could have just bought the actual thing I wanted for the original price and it's perfect and I'll love it and I don't need to buy anything to replace that thing. I hope that makes sense. It's a bit of a hard rule to explain, but it's more of just a quality over quantity rule. There you go. Quality over quantity rule. And then my final rule, which is less of a rule, it's just more of like a fact, I guess, that gift cards I can spend as money. This is purely because in Hannah's rules, in her no-buy year, she was not allowed to use gift cards as if they were money. She could only use them in the same way she would use her budget, which was to buy replacements. Whereas for me, gift cards they are a gift, and I am going to allow myself to spend them however I want to spend them, but I still want to make smart purchases with them and not just buy things because I can. So yeah, those are all my rules of my budget, and I think I might not do check-ins every month. I will maybe just do them when I can and keep an update on here of how it's going, and I want to keep a note of everything that I'm spending my money on so I can really hold myself accountable and I can show you what I am, where my money is going to. And I'm really excited to start doing this. I'm really excited to see a reflection in my bank account, and also just in like my general feelings towards myself. I don't want to feel that guilt anymore. I don't want to feel that shame anymore. I don't want to do this thing that I always do, which is like I go to Kelvin and I'm like, I did a bad thing. Ooh. And it's like, no, I shouldn't feel that way. I should be, I shouldn't feel gross when I spend money on things because I know that I don't need them. I want to feel excited and, I want to get that buzz again. I was saying to Poppy like a few years ago, if I knew a parcel was coming for me, I would be so excited and I would get home as quick as I could, and the first thing I would do was open that parcel, try on whatever it was, or look at whatever it was, and I would be so thrilled. I'd be like a kid on Christmas, like so excited to have this new thing. But now, because I am buying new things all the time, I could leave a parcel for days before opening it because I know what's in there. And do you know what? I don't actually want it that much. I'm so disappointed in myself. So anyway, that is my introduction to my low buy and my beauty budget. I don't think I'm going to steal the name from Hannah because that's what she called. I think I'm just going to call it Cat's budget. Maybe I'll come up with a more interesting. Christ, I've been talking for a really long time. But yeah, if you've got any tips for budgeting, please leave them in the comment section. I would love to get a helping hand. Or if there's any other channels that you follow that, you know, do have more content that's about sustainability and not over consuming things, because I also don't want to promote over consumerism. Yes, I am a beauty content channel and I want to talk about pretty things, but I don't want to encourage anybody to go out of their way to buy things that they can't necessarily afford. But anyway, that is everything from me. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. That would be amazing. And yeah, that's everything. Eat good, drink good, take care of yourself. Lots of love. Cheers. Thanks. Bye.